Save Our Kids is an opportunity for you to be introduced to a few school and student helpers. If there is a space or a place to improve the lives of our children, we know a few families and business owners who have made it their business to answer the call for help and provide a solution to those challenges that impact our children and eventually us all. We could not just choose one kiddo to save, so we are asking for your help to reach more. Join Keeping Your Kids Safe as we identify some of the problems and share a few solutions that have been created just for you. Yes. Hello. Hi, Molly. How are you?
I am well. How are you today? Happy Tuesday.
Oh my gosh. Happy Tuesday. Yes, ma'am. It is Tuesday for sure. Man. I thank you very much for, wanting to spend a little bit of time with me today so we can talk about, some of those things, those burning questions and comments that we have about school, parenting, and children, right? Because I've been really having these intense conversations about all of this. And so it's just quite interesting to figure out where we are with all of that.
Well, I wonder why, Tabitha. We are at a spot with school, parenting, and children where things are really intense right now. Like
Right.
things are really intense.
This is very much true. Oh, okay. As I play with this is very, very true.
Yeah.
A lot of times I don't know. I feel like we need to be more respectful or understanding of what's happening with the students and stuff, because I think that's where a lot of our struggles are coming into play.
Yeah.
So again, I thank you for being here. I'm going to go ahead and tell people why we're here. Right? It's always very important to understand why we're here and what we're doing, right?
Absolutely.
So make sure all my banners are right, because I've gone into other ones and they're just been wrong. All right. So first and foremost, we always want to thank the village and the teachers and administrators for doing the jobs that some of us cannot do, right? So you spend endless hours making sure that each child is educated, taken care of, fed, and accommodated as much as possible. And sometimes can be a thankless job. So today I'm saying thank you. If you see me tomorrow, I'll say thank you again. But I do appreciate the fact that you're here spending your time with us. Here's the thing. Based on the numbers, we all recognize that there are times in which it is important that we know that what we're solving for. The problems exist. We know the problems exist because the numbers tell us so. So let's discuss some of those. So like I always tell everybody, when I first started, there was 55 million children going to school every single school year. Since the change has happened, there is about 50 million children going to school every single school year. What happened to the 5 million? And in 2031, they're actually projecting that the number will go down to 49.6 million. So you have to wonder what's happening with all of the students. Where are they going? Because they're still being educated. So it's just a matter of where they're going. Inside of those 50 million children that go to school every single school year, 4 million teachers take care of those. And 55% of them, as of 2023, want to quit. That is screaming there's a problem. I see so many posts coming across a transitioning teacher leaving the business, going into other avenues. So we kind of have to wonder why. So when we take a look at it, we know that 37%, an average of 37% across US cannot read on grade level. To bring that into perspective, we always like to remind you it's 13 million children, approximately 13 million children cannot read on grade level. That is feeding into another system that is not supporting them. It is actually supporting others' financial gain, which is kind of disgusting. So not kind of, just very gross. See, another thing I want to point out is that there's 4,300 children killed by gun violence, and at least 2 children are misplaced in a school dismissal mix-up every single day, every single school. People like to tell you that's not really true. I like to say, I beg to differ and show me where it's not. Because at the end of the day, I see the numbers and you see the numbers. You see it when it shows up on your TV, when it shows up on the radio. Your Amber Alerts is a very good indicator. In Texas, we get a lot of Amber Alerts. So there's,
Really?
oh yeah, a lot. But so then I also like to remind you, 52 work weeks, 52 weeks in a year, 40 hours per week. Parents, you are spending approximately 2,080 hours per year at work. We're not including travel time, because when you include travel time, you're up to 2,600 hours away from your children a year. Your children are in school for approximately 180 days, depending on your district, and they are with the second parent, parent number 2, for 1,260 hours per year, right? Per year. And so, with all of that being said, you don't have a lot of time with your children. So, just be mindful of that. Hello, my friend.
Mm, mm.
So I just want to give everybody an opportunity to introduce themselves so that we understand what we're solving for. We're solving for the challenges that we noticed today. And we have solutions to partner with schools, parents, districts, and others in order to make an impact in that child's life and education and journey. So I'm going to go ahead and change up, and I'm going to say, oh, not me, Miss Miss Molly. Just go ahead and share with everybody who you are and what you do.
Absolutely. Hi, I'm Molly Feigl, Parenting Support. I am a parent coach, and people go, what is that? Why is that needed? Tabitha, I am so thrilled to be here with you because everything that you've said in the past 5 minutes resonates so strongly with my personal experience and my life and why I decided to be where I am today. So first, we are in a mental health crisis for our children. Absolutely. The Surgeon General said it in 2021. And as of now, in 2023, lots of people are still writing about and researching and noticing that we are still in it, specifically for our preteens, teens, and young adults. And we as parents, we are not equipped with what it takes to be able to go, oh, we're in an unprecedented time. We've been through unprecedented things. We don't know how to parent in a way that really can try to buffer the effects of the things out there going on with our children. So we end up as parents feeling absolutely blindsided when we start seeing the symptoms of the mental health crisis in our own children. When we're blindsided, we don't know what to do. And when we don't know what to do, we feel helpless. We feel embarrassed. We're supposed to know what to do. We're the parents. Um, and we feel ashamed that we feel alone. And that's where I step in. As a parent coach, who is Molly? For the last 20 years, I have been an elementary music teacher in the public schools. I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Okay. I'm in South Minneapolis. For those of you going, well, where in Minneapolis? I'm in South Minneapolis. If you think of like the Lake Street Light Rail Station, that's where I am. Okay. Anyway, so for 20 years, I taught elementary music in a school that had 750 kids. And I, raised kids from 5 years old up to 5th grade in the same school for 20 years. I've also spent 30 years as a camp counselor at a summer camp for teenagers. So I spend a lot of time with the youth. I have 2 of my own kids, 12 and 15. So parents of preteens and teens who are watching this, I am right where you are right now. Okay. We are together in this. And in brief, because I could talk for a long time, but I want to make sure I don't, take too much time here. I noticed that from being within the system as a teacher, I was not able to make the impact that I am drawn to make. I tried. I made lots of impact. I know people watching this whose kids have been through my music program are like, Molly, but you did this. Yes, I did. But for the most needy children, the children who really needed more, I was so frustrated from being within the system.
Oh,
that I don't know that you knew this when you had me come in here, Tabitha, but um, I have stopped working for the public school system and now I got certified as a parent coach. And I decided I need to step out of the system, bypass it, and go directly to the parents and the caregivers in the home.
okay.
Because it's the caregivers in the home that can make a huge difference with just a couple of shifts of perspective and tips and tricks and knowledge. We can make a huge difference in the mental health of our children, how they respond to stress and how they deal with stress. And when I say stress, that's a gentle word. That's a gentle word. I should maybe see like the traumatic events of the world that impact them on a daily basis. And I see both of you nodding over there. You're like, uh-huh, yep. So that's what I do. I partner with parents. We do online things like this, and I chat with parents about how to be more mindful, more present, and how to make an impact not only when the kids are within crisis, like not only when your child is 17 years old and showing signs of depression and you're really worried about them, but ahead of that, preventatively, proactively, before that all happens. I partner with parents like this. I also do some webinars, I do some speaking engagements. I'm trying to get in front of as many adults as possible who work with kids, not little kids, who work with youth.
Yes.
I'm not trying to get in front of the teachers as much because as someone who has recently left teaching, we are tired. And we can talk more about that later. But so is there anything else that I need to say
No,
right now? Okay.
not right now. I appreciate you. Well, I'm gonna tell you, I didn't. So did I realize you were a teacher? I
Nope.
think I've kind of figured out you were. That owl behind you lets me know, and you are in this kind of classroom setting. And so, funny enough, now as you go ahead and transition, we're gonna bring up Christina, who is a former teacher as well. So, all right, Christina, share with people who you are and what you're about.
Hi, my name is Christina Campos. I'm founder of The Impactful Parent. So I help parents of school-age children turn their chaos into connection with their adolescent. Much like my co-host here, I'm a parenting coach and specialize in those preteen and teen years. I was an educator also, and I do also have online courses and one-on-one coaching, but primarily I created an app for parents. And so it's the Impactful Parent app. You can see it on your Bones app store and go check it out because it's free to download. And inside you'll find hundreds of different things in there to help you with your school-age child. So that's a little bit what I'm about. I don't know if there was any specific questions you had for me, Tabitha.
No, not at all. So I'll go ahead and let you sit back for a minute and I'll let everybody know who I am. So for everyone who does not know, my name is Tabitha Barron. I am the founder of Keeping Your Kids Safe. Because of an incident that happened with my family, my niece got dropped off at the wrong bus stop twice in the same school year as a 5-year-old. My problem with that situation was not that the incident happened, it was the response to the incident that caused more strife than anything else. She was missing for about an hour and a half. And one thing I know in my life is that if you're going to ask somebody to do something, you have to at least provide them an option to do it. So therefore, I sat back, figured out a way that I can create something that was going to be helpful and supportive of teachers, bus drivers, parents, and ultimately the child. Because I don't care what anybody says, and I don't care how many marketing people tell me, it is not about the adult. It wasn't about the adult yesterday. It's not going to be about the adult today, and it's not going to be about the adult tomorrow. At the end of the day, you have reached a point of adulthood, but that child has not, and they're heavily relying on what we do in order to ensure their safety. So that's what we're about. So again, like I say, I don't know which one I'm going to choose. Okay, maybe we'll go that way. No, I don't like that one. So we're just going to figure this way. So this is what we are here to talk about. One of the things for me ultimately is that I believe that if we if we understand the problem we are solving for, it's easier for us to see ourselves in how we're going to work together. Things about the school districts, which I've found very challenging, is that a lot of times it's, I didn't know that problem existed, or I didn't know that solution existed. Well, I'm here to tell you, I have just made it my business to bring a problem or a challenge, talk about potential solutions, and offer you a solution or a contact person that's going to help you to bridge the gap to where you are to where you want to be. And I think that's the most important part of it all. So that's why we're here today. So again, so there's a couple of things. First of all, is there any specific reason why you left teaching? Because this might address the 2 million teachers, a little bit over 2 million teachers who no longer wish to work in education. So is there a specific thing about your situation that made you say you did not want to be a teacher anymore?
Who goes first?
You can go. That's fine.
Okay, I'm going first. For me, it wasn't specific. It was more the pileup of all the things. It was a pileup of teaching during a time when teachers are getting a lot of hi Amanda, hi Amanda.
Yeah.
But teachers were getting a lot of pushback. As you know, there are lots of people out there who are still assuming that teachers don't know what they're doing or don't have children's best interests at heart, and really want to get. There are people who want to get into the teacher's classroom and micromanage everything, and it's incredibly painful. Teachers go into teaching to make a difference. They do not go into teaching to make $1 billion, nor do they go into teaching to have an easy, relaxed lifestyle. Teachers work very hard, and to have teachers work so hard as COVID hit and just bend over backwards to make things work, and then to have this rising discontent and anger at the teachers for things that were not within their control is incredibly painful for the teachers in the trenches. So that's one thing. Having I worked in a district that's incredibly supportive, that's incredibly has good support. The administration in my building were wonderful. Like, they worked hard for us, but the system itself does not support the teachers. So that's one thing. The mental health in my household was declining rapidly.
Oh.
And it wasn't just me. I was struggling. I was on the struggle bus. And I'm comfortable enough to talk about it now, but my mental health was declining. But also the mental health of my children during the pandemic was also really declining. It had a huge impact on our youth, no matter how their family chose to walk through it. Because I talked to teachers and parents across the nation, and in different places, they reacted differently to the pandemic. So no matter how a family or a community chose to walk through that, it still had a huge impact on our youth, especially our preteens, teens, and young adults. So my own household, my children, their mental health was crashing, and I could not keep up with what was going on in my household, plus what was going on in the schools, plus feeling like I was making no difference at all. So that is what pushed me over the edge to number one, I want to make a bigger difference. Number two, I need to not be where I am right now.
That's a really good point, because I never really thought about the mental health side of things. I did recognize that some of the teachers were a little more short, struggling a little bit, but but my thing was that we always worry about us first, and it's true. So you are supposed to put your oxygen mask on first before you can help others. But if you can't even see where you can even need to put on your oxygen mask. It's very hard to be able to do that and then support others. You're struggling in your own struggle. But for me, I think I sacrificed myself for the health and well-being of my children. So when it came to that, if I noticed my mental health was just not in where I needed it to be, I said, okay, I have to shift this, and I have to look at, if I'm struggling with this, then they're struggling with this. And so the reason why I say that is because I have said it openly that we so busy worried about all of the adults that we forgot to manage the children.
Yes.
And it wasn't until you just started talking about it that I realized that to a certain degree, I get why, but somebody was watching the children, but nobody was addressing them. And that became my point of contention, not because the parents didn't do it or the school didn't do it. It was because the community didn't step in and do it, because there were some people that could have definitely supported the mental health of those children, because we're actually seeing that. We can see the outcome of not doing anything. Yes. And I think that's my problem. And I've said it at the beginning. If we do not do something with these children now, and we expect them to take care of us later, you are in for a very rude awakening. There is no manifesting or any other solution you have out there that's going to bring those children into your camp to take care of you when you did not take care of them when they were young, right?
It's all about being present, even in our busiest times. We have to figure out how to be present. And maybe that presentness isn't spending an hour with them. Maybe that presentness is just the way we speak to them. Because talking as for example, and then I'm gonna throw it to
Christina.
Christina, thank you. Her name wasn't on the screen, and I was like, wait, I wrote it down. I also wrote down your app, Christina, because I'm like, hello, let's look at that.
You two ladies need to talk for sure.
Yeah, we need to talk. So I teaching for a long time, right? And I have 25 to 35 kids in my music classroom, and they flip through every half hour. So it's not like you have a whole lot of time to really sink in and be present in a conversation with one kid who's having a rough day, because the other 25 kids still need me, right? So in that situation, as I was gaining my certification in parent coaching, there were certain phrases that really impact the instinctual part of the brain. I point back here because that's near where the amygdala is. There are certain phrases that impact that part of the brain that help the kid go, I can calm down. And I started workshopping them in my classroom. I'd have children come to me after Phy-Ed class, right? Think about your children coming out of Phy-Ed. Their bodies have been super active, right? Their voices have been super active. And often their emotions have been super active because Phy-Ed class has competitive stuff, right? And I get them coming out of Phy-Ed class, and they are loud, and they are mad, and they are active, and they're frustrated, and they're sad. And I can't fix what may or may not have happened in Phy-Ed class. It's not my job, right? Plus, they'll learn from being physical and active and competitive and feeling sad. They learn from that. It's not bad that they have those feelings. However, when they would come into my music room, if I saw someone like that, I could simply say, this is how leaning in just quickly, I could simply say, you look like you're having really big feelings right now. Did I get that right? Yeah, I'm so mad because so-and-so cheated. Wow, I can see how mad you look. I know how that feels. And then I walk away and teach the other 25 kids. Because what am I going to do? Well, let's talk about cheating. Let's take care of it. No, I can't do that. But just saying that and them getting 2 sentences of, she sees me, she understands that.
Right.
And so us busy parents, us busy community, the entire community who is overwhelmed and overworked, as you said, 280 hours per year at work. parents have, right? Is that what you said?
2080
2080. I
with
forgot
a
my
lot
commas.
of hours.
Right. And that doesn't include driving to and from. It's not about quitting your entire job and leaning in with your kids, because we can't do that. It
Right.
is, however, about when we can learn just those little nuggets so that they know that we're present with them, even though we can't be, hi, let's talk for an hour. So I kind of went off on a tangent there. I'm going to stop and let's pass it over to Christina, because I've talked a lot.
Come on, Christina, you're funny.
Yeah, I've lost track of, should I answer why I left teaching? Go back to that.
You can answer whatever you need. So here's the thing, the 4 million teachers, we've already discussed why teachers are leaving. A lot of times people are saying that they are leaving teaching because of money. That's not the primary reason. They're directly proportional to the activities, right? So here's
Is
the
that what
thing.
people are saying? That their
Yes, they're
kids are
saying
leaving
it's
because they want more money?
They want more money. It's not money. Christina, you said it's not money. The last time I asked you this question, it's not money, right? What is the reason
Yeah.
why you left teaching?
Well, it's getting increasingly more difficult. The pressures of teaching. We're asking teachers to do more and more every year, and it's just getting overwhelming. So I'm sure money would help. It definitely compensates for all the time and effort you put into it. And I think that does play a factor as far as, is this worth it to me? I'm putting in all this effort and more every year. And I'm not really, am I getting paid to do that? I think that does help, but it isn't definitely the core issue. On top of just everything being a lot more difficult nowadays, as far as, we touched on this before, but kids are more lost. Kids need more personal attention. There's a lot more learning differences that have been identified than, let's say, 50 years ago, where teachers didn't have to accommodate for the learning differences 50, 75 years ago, like they do today. And it's a legal requirement. We have to, do that, as you should, but you have to individualize so much more now than you did before, which is more work, which is fine if you didn't have to do X, Y, and Z and 10 other things on top of that list. So it's not any one thing about teaching that makes any teacher leave. Usually, obviously that's a bold statement, but I'm going to stand by that. It's typically a whole bunch of little things that end up accumulating and wearing you down. And that's really where it comes down to, I would say, the majority of the time. You are worn out by the time you need to leave. You're not mad. You're not like, oh, I hate that one somebody or whatever. I got to get away from that. No, you're worn out. And so you just need to shift gears for your own health, whether it's mental health, physical health, because it's both. It'll affect teachers both ways.
All right. So right now, we're talking about mental health. And remember, I had in one of the earlier shows, we had Kevin Strauss on here, and he says that the mental health it's not a mental health thing. It has everything to do with emotional health. But the emotional part leads in the triangle, the cognitive behavioral triangle. I have to honestly say, nope, not so much. Don't necessarily agree with that. Didn't agree when they introduced it to me the first time, and I don't agree with it still, because that means that, so we have a lot of subconscious thoughts and feelings and things that are happening in the background. And it's just one of those things that I get it, right? But at the same time, I don't know that we can catch it, stop it, and then direct it in a specific way. So that triangle is a little bit more challenging for children because they feel their feelings and they feel them big, right? But he's right. To a certain degree, there is an emotional aspect of it. And I think a lot, it's because children know how to love, children know how to feel, children know how to do all those things, right? And then you guys get in the classrooms and there's 26 of them. And so you got to love on all of them. But a couple of them rub you the wrong way, but you got to love on all of them. And so you're trying to build this emotional connect connection with them just as well as you want them to build with them. But that's not always that's always not the way to help them understand how to deal with their feelings, right? You have to, I feel like we have to realize we were there once, but what did that feel like? And then try to help them to be able to name how they feel in order for them to be able to manage their feelings. But the thing about it is, if we're shutting down our feelings, we are modeling the best possible example to the child on how they're going to deal with their feelings. So if we bottle ours, they're going to bottle theirs. If we don't show our emotion, they're gonna. That's okay. It bounces around, I think, sometimes.
We lost her.
And it doesn't do that, right? So that's one of the things I feel like is happening in a lot of cases where we want children to do things that we're not doing ourselves. And then we don't understand why they're modeling the bad side of what we've shown versus the good side of what could be happening.
Right.
So so it's just a little bit of that. But one of the challenges it's one of the things I want to ask is, as teachers, so you were previously a teacher, and I applaud you because I want to introduce you to Catherine. I cannot even attempt to answer to say her name, but she is an art teacher. Okay. And so she teaches art. But my thing is that, what is something that parents can do that will help support the teachers? Because one of the things I do notice is that without the relationship between parents, first of all, let me explain. Parent 1 is home. Parent 2 is school. We have to learn how to co-parent together. That is I read off the hours for a very specific reason, right? Because if you look at how many hours they're spending with parent number 2 up against how many hours you're spending with them, you have to make sure that the value systems are kind of aligned. Otherwise, you will find yourself in a situation where everything you pour into the child will be pulled out of the child and replaced with another set of value systems from parent number 2. So what are some of the things that parents can do to improve the education of their children when they are sending them to school?
I'm taking some notes here because I have lots of ideas flying in my brain, and I want to try to organize them a little bit before I just babble. I have a tendency to get really excited. Yeah. So I had 3 points I was going to make, and I just lost the third one. So I'm hold on. Okay. All right. I have my 3 points.
This is good. Amanda.
Yes, Amanda.
CBT can be very gaslighting to systematically oppress and marginalize groups. Yes, because I was like, I used to feel every time I got that, every time somebody would tell me to do that, I would be like, you're ignoring what I'm telling you. This isn't okay. I'm not sitting there. I had a therapist who used to tell me that I needed to do things slightly different or to catch my thought and turn it into, and I was like, hey lady, I didn't wake up this morning and just be like, I want to be angry today. I didn't do that.
For those who aren't familiar with cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, will you talk about that really briefly while I finish up my notes to the question you asked?
All right, I'll put Amanda's thing right up there. So what they say is that what is said to you, it then turns around. So what's said to you, you take it and you turn it into the feelings that you want to have, and then it reflects into your behavior. So we are in control of that. CBT. Oh yeah, Amanda, you want to tell us what CBT stand for? I can look it up real quick, but
I looked it up. We're good.
So that's what it is. And so they kept telling me to get my thoughts are not my feelings. And I was like, okay, I get that. But at the same time, your thoughts control, there you go. Your thoughts control your emotions, then control your actions. And I find that very challenging because we have a lot of sub thoughts. We have thoughts that we subconsciously we're thinking things or running. Their algorithm is running back there on its own. And so when you say to me, I'm ugly, then I catch that I can change that. And I'm like, in their opinion, I'm ugly. That does not mean that I am ugly, and I will not accept that as my reality. And I think that that's okay. But but later on, as I process my day, that may hit differently in my subconscious and then my behavior. So then because of that comment, I may shift it a little bit, but I don't necessarily know that it actually makes it all the way to the next place. So just think different and life will be magically better. I call all day
Bless
long.
you. Oh, sorry. Yep. Okay. So we're gonna be we're gonna not use bad words on this cast.
Nope, and I
Good to
did.
know. Good job. Good job. Okay. I am ready.
Go for it.
If you want to keep talking about that, please do. I have not been enough. Oh, there we go. Yay, you're back. Yay. So, Christina, Tabitha asked me the question, what can parents do to support the teachers? In brief. Was that it, Tabitha? In brief.
Yes.
And know that my lens is, yes, about supporting teachers, but my lens is going to be a little hyper focused on the children in the classroom, because that's my passion. And when parents are supporting the children, then they're supporting the teachers. One of the biggest issues with teachers these days is behavior. Behaviors within the classroom are not happening because kids have decided they're going to go into school and upset the teachers today. They don't wake up and say, I'm going to make Miss Feigl really mad today. They don't say that. Behaviors are happening most often as a response to the stress and the stuff in the world and in the brain. I could go into a deep dive in that, but I'm not right now. That can be another time we talk. What can parents do to support teachers is figure out how to connect deeply with your children. When they feel that strong connection, and there are ways to do that that make sense for your kid and that make sense for you. I could give you 5 tips right now, but only one of them might work best for you and your family. And then you'll try the other 4 and be like, Molly doesn't know what she's talking about. That's why the 2 of us on here do private coaching. So we can give you those tips and we can modify them for you. But ways to connect with your kids. Why? Because keeping that instinctual part of their brain, the amygdala, the one that's in charge of survival, the part that's in charge of fight or flight, keeping that nurtured and calm helps their body get into a habit or a pattern of being, I'm taken care of, I'm nurtured, I'm going to survive. I don't need to flip into fight or flight. Fight or flight, freeze, and fawn. There are 4 F's, but I'm just going to stay with the 2 people know. The 2 that people know most. Fight or flight is most often what we're seeing in the behaviors in the classroom. And we don't know why that is triggered. It could be something happened at home, could be somebody look at them cross-eyed in the hallway. We don't know as teachers. But if you as parents can continue to feed them with, I'm taken care of, I'm seen, that will bring their amygdala's fight or flight trigger down. And they will come to school a little bit more regulated, things like that. So that's number 1. I got 2 more. 2, be in conversation with the teachers. And please give them grace. Teachers are teaching because they want to make a difference. They want to connect with your kids. They are also trying to connect with 30 other kids in their classroom without the support. Christina, yes, was just talking about that. There are so many things that we as teachers want to do and need to do for all the differentiated needs in our classroom. And we are not given what we need to do that. Class sizes are gigantic. And that's huge. So push for smaller class sizes. Hello, easy peasy. But be in conversation with the teachers. Find out what they need. Realize for not only your kid, but the other kids in the classroom. Also, advocate like hell for your kid.
Yep.
If you're in a situation where your kid is going to is not understood, especially in our BIPOC community, you know, if you are in a spot where your kid is not understood and not supported by the system, advocate like hell for that kid, right? Push.
Right.
At the same time, try to be gentle and understanding and give grace when those teachers are a wreck trying to support every single kid. So
Yeah.
that's 2. 3 kind of wraps into that. Believe the teachers. If the teacher says, your child is showing these habits, can we work together to figure out what to do? Don't come back with anger. Please don't just yell at the teacher. You can
Not
be
all
angry.
of them.
Right. You can be angry. And if you get enough data that you're like, you were doing it wrong for my kid, definitely advocate like hell. But also go, okay, we are on a team. What are you able to do? Let's be together in this. I'll do my part. You got to prove to me, teacher, that you're doing yours. Oh, you don't have what it needs. You don't have the support you need to do your part. All right, somebody else in the school better. So then you start advocating for more support and more help.
Yeah.
That was a lot again.
Well, Christina, so Christina, go ahead and comment, because I'm going to challenge you on a couple of those, Molly, because
Please
one
do.
of them, for sure, one of them, all teachers are not like you. You two are different type of teachers. And some
Yes.
of the teachers I've run into, I've literally want to say, meet me out after the bell at 3:00. Okay. Because
Yes,
some of the stuff is just not okay. And there's
absolutely.
some really good teachers, and then there's some really crappy teachers. So Christina,
Absolutely.
go ahead and share. I'm gonna bounce off and back on and see if I can get this lag to stop.
Okay, I'll go. I'll keep it simple. I got 2 recommendations for everybody that would be amazing if you can do these 2 things, parents. The first thing that you can do is create an amazing, very consistent routine at home. If you can create a routine at home, I know that sounds silly, but it's going to help across the board with your child about with everything they do, all the coaches, teachers, and best part is going to help you yourself too, because there's a lot of value in routine. One of the parenting mistakes that a lot of parents do is that they just don't have a routine. They're used to not being able, or they're used to being able to do things off the fly. Oh, it's time, let's go, and they do it. But kids, on the other hand, really, really benefit from routine. What routine does is routine creates security and routine creates consistency. So now when you have a child who has a good routine, they know exactly what is expected of them. They know when they need to come home. They know when they need to do their homework. They need to know when they're going to have dinner. They need to know what day they have to clean their room. They know, get it regimented down as much as you can. Now, can you go off of the routine? Of course you can. That's going to happen. But if 80% of the time you can keep things consistent, that child does not have to have quite as much anxiety in their life, because now they know what is expected of them. So they do not, it just trickles down. Now they're just more relaxed. They don't have as much anxiety. Now you get things done. You have less nagging at home because they know what's expected of them. It's a great thing. Try that, really, the routine. And yeah, I get it. That routine is freaking boring. I'm telling you, you're going to love it, because the results of the routine is way better than the boringness part of it. I promise.
It's
The
boring, but
second-
it's safe. It's boring, but it's safe. They feel safe.
It is
They
safe.
know
It is.
what's
They're
happening.
secure, right? They know. And teachers know this. This is why they create a routine in the classroom every single day. But if you can create a routine at home, you're actually helping everybody who interact with your kid throughout the day, because they're going to be in a better place. The second recommendation I would have to help teachers would be to ask questions to your kid. Ask as many questions to your child as possible. You ask them questions about their school day. When they do say something, ask them questions about what happened. Ask them questions about what they're learning in school. Ask more questions. You cannot ask enough questions as a parent. And I don't care what age your child is, anytime from preschool through high school, ask tons of questions. What this is going to do is a lot, like what my co-host said, is it's going to make your child feel seen. It's going to make your child feel heard. They're going to have an opportunity now to vent to you. They're going to have that you've now just opened up an opportunity for them to talk to you if you have a teenager. Now, do they have to talk? Will you get some teenagers that are like, fine, yes, no? Be careful. You don't want to ask yes or no questions, but sure, that can happen. But it's okay. As a parent, we're playing the long game here. So I have 4 children of my own, by the way. And 2 of them are in college and 2 of them are in middle school. And it doesn't matter what age you ask these questions over and over to them. There will be days that my kids are responsive, and there'll be days when they are very short with me. I don't want to talk to their mom. But in the end, they always have an opportunity to talk to me. I've always kept the door open. And if you can do that, it will help teachers too. When you start asking questions, you're activating different parts of their brain that's going to make your child more intelligent. It's going to make them think outside the box. They're going to be able to debrief and think about what they're doing, how they feel. How did that make them feel? Why did it make them feel like that? Could they have done something differently next time? If you can do it again, how would you have done it differently? If you had nobody watching, what would you really do? Like, ask questions. I'm telling you, it helps across the board, everybody that you see. So those are my 2 recommendations.
Those are
Great.
brilliant.
So
Absolutely brilliant.
here's my thing. You guys ultimately just told everyone, and if anybody's paying attention, communication is key. So when I created Keeping Your Kids Safe, KICS is the program, I knew this. People are like, what problem are you solving? Communication. No, that's not the problem. No, that's not your problem. But the problem is communication. School is not communicating to home. Home's not communicating to school. The child is the one in the middle. And we're playing tug of war with this little person who's like, I'm just trying to figure out who has the least amount of consequences. Oh my gosh, I just got to do that, and she bounced off. So, that tug of war thing that's happening. And it's very painful to have that experience, to be in a place where you have it where, nobody wants to be the one in the middle being pulled in 2 directions. It just doesn't work, And I think a lot of that is what's happening. And so, Phil, I'm so glad you're here. So there are so many different strategies to help deep connections and relationship with children, but not every strategy is going to work, which is absolutely correct. So children, when they learn how to walk, when they're learning how to walk, they don't stop when they fall. They get back up and they try again. So if you're saying to your child, don't get discouraged, keep trying, don't get discouraged, you're going to be able to walk. And even though you weren't walking at 9 months old like your brother did, but he was moving out the way for you. So it's going to take you maybe until 11 months to walk, but don't let them give up. So parents, don't give up on your children. If one thing doesn't work, try something different. And parents he's saying, please invest in the relationship and stay positive. Too much negativity exists outside of your home anyway. So much trauma and drama does equate to a great connection with your children. So I think he makes a very good point. You ladies make very good points, because communication is first. If you cannot break into the bubble that they've put themselves in, there's no way you're going to reach them. And that's on the teacher side, administrator side, and the parent side. Because a child is looking, I keep saying to myself, what was I fighting for when I was 9 and 10? What was I fighting for when I was 14 and 15? I couldn't figure out I was like, why was I fighting my parents? I just wanted to make choices of my own. Mm-hmm. So, and I've been asking myself this question for probably the last year, because I'm like, I need to understand, what was I fighting for? So many children are fighting to get free from whatever shenanigans they're in. But why are they fighting so hard to do that? I think it has a lot to do with the systems being different. Their lives are different. You have more homeless students. Like, I just want to let you know that there are more homeless children. There are more homeless children than we know today, right? They don't come to school because of bullying. They don't come to school. Some of them have to come to school because that's where they're being fed. But we have to be mindful that the people that these children are dealing with things that are not consistent with what we had to deal with 10 and 15 years ago. And that pandemic set a lot of things in motion that I won't say no one, that many people are not addressing in a way that
Mm.
is going to be effective for the student, for the child. If they have big feelings, they need to have those big feelings acknowledged. You angry
Mhm.
because you have to go to school? I understand. I'm angry because you got to go to school too. Because that's what I used to do to mine. They were like, I'm mad. I don't want to do this. I'm mad too because I don't want to ask you to do it. But here we are. Now what are we going to do? Right? So you have to acknowledge that, because every human being wants to be seen, heard, and acknowledged. And if we can't even get that part out of a child, then how are we going to do that? But I love the fact you said give the teachers grace. I give the teachers grace, but there's a few teachers I like to snatch a knot in,
Right.
because
Absolutely.
they're just not okay. And the stuff
Absolutely.
that they do and say is not okay. For example, and I'll get your take on this. I posted something yesterday, which I don't know. I haven't looked, didn't do a whole lot of people didn't see it, but I hope that you'll go and take a look at it and potentially answer. The reason why I'm frustrated is because a resource officer pinned down a neurodivergent child.
Mhm.
His face got all scraped up, and he's like, and then my thing was, restraining those children is one thing. The way he restrained them first was wrong. Okay.
Mhm.
The thing that bothered me the most was what he said to him thereafter. So that's my problem.
Okay.
I get it. Those kids are strong for a very good reason, but it's how we respond to
Absolutely.
respond to them that actually makes the situation worse. It's not that we
Absolutely.
had to restrain them, because I think the other restraint could have been that he took hand by hand and wrapped, because I think,
Right.
and held on, right? And
Yep.
by doing that, you actually solve two problems. One is you give the child comfort. You let them know that they're okay, and that they can start to feel and relax, because that's why when babies are born, preemies, they actually put skin to skin. So if
Mhm.
you want to talk about, you're here to protect and serve as a resource officer, use additional resources to solve the problem of the child instead of traumatizing the child more. Because now what that officer just did was he actually created the opportunity for fight, flight,
Absolutely.
freeze, and fawn, a
Absolutely.
serious issue later
100%.
in his life. So as soon as he sees a police officer, he's going to be like, them jokers do nothing. They hurt my face. They hurt
Mhm.
my arms. They hurt my belly.
Absolutely.
Instead of having the ones that will do that, this is just one option, right?
Yep.
Wrap them and hold on to them and say, you're safe and everything's okay and we're good to go. And then allow them to help. That helps them soothe and gives them an option. So what is your take or thoughts on that?
Oh, absolutely. Everything you said is right. It is the adult's response that can either escalate and blow up, or de-escalate and regulate and calm. It is the adult's response. And that is where we have such a huge problem, is that so many of us adults, we see a behavior and we take personal affront, and we're like, that kid is doing this to make me mad, or it triggers something in us. It triggers fight or flight in us. And we don't think as well. When you're in fight or flight, the logic part of your brain is gone. Poof, disappeared. And so we adults have to, number one, notice our response. Oh, I'm having a really big response to this kid right now and what they're doing. Number two, choose your path. Like having, like Amanda said in the comments, being trained in crisis intervention and verbal de-escalation. If everyone in the world knew how to recognize what a stress or a trauma response is. Oh, that kid is having a trauma response or a stress response. They are no longer in their right mind. They don't need me to yell at them and grab them. They need me to take a deep breath, sit down near them. If they're going to hurt someone or something or themselves, they need to be restrained in a way that lets them know, we are here for you. We are not going to let you hurt anyone or anything, because we don't do that here.
Mhm.
I know you're angry. I'm feeling angry too. Your anger is making me angry, but we are here together. like learning a couple of those things, so many of us adults don't have that skill. And it takes time and it takes practice and it's hard. It is
Hmm.
hard. But I agree with you. The so many responses of adults, teachers, things like that behaving in a manner that I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that child, you've just hit their energy and escalated."
Yep.
Instead of you choose a path when you're faced with something, adults,
Yeah.
you get to decide your path.
Yep.
And it's hard because our brains are hijacked by our own amygdalas and like, oh my God, this kid is a threat to me. Now I need to be a threat back. But being able to go, wait, how do you step back? Mindfulness, present moment things, all that stuff. There's an organization here in the Twin Cities doing amazing work. And I'd love to lift them up if I could.
Cool.
Irreducible Grace Foundation. If I can't, I have to try to find them on Facebook again. I used to follow them and post a lot of their stuff on Facebook. My Facebook account got hacked and annihilated, and I had to start over. And I haven't followed them again. But Irreducible Grace Foundation
Okay.
in St. Paul, Minnesota. They work specifically originally with homeless youth of color or foster kids or kids who've been transient a lot. And they teach the youth about all this brain stuff. And then they have created trainings where they are using theater and movement and things like that to train adults about how to respond better when they see things like this in kids. So it's trying to train the youth to help themselves, but also trying to train adults who are within different systems.
Right.
Irreducible Grace Foundation. I'll see. Well, in a minute, I might see. I know we're running late on time.
That's okay. So as we're getting ready to wrap up, I put your free download at the bottom of the screen for those who are interested. Please visit Molly's website in order to get the free download and potentially schedule a call with her to see if it's something that you would want to work with her on. Here's what I will say as we wrap up. The thing about this is that I never want to come here and bash any group of people for the work that they're doing or not doing, right? It's just not possible. Come on, Christina, we getting ready to wrap up, my friend.
Get back in here.
Let me tell you
I'm
something.
so sorry.
No, when you're traveling and when things are happening, this is the time. And so I am extremely flexible. Not flexible in the body kind of thing, but I'm flexible up here. So you're good. So my thing is that we're not here to fight anyone. We're not here to blame anyone. I said I am on the struggle bus working so diligently to support schools, support them to help improve their time, enhance the communication, build a bridge from the community to the school that allows you to be able to do that. Do you know how many volunteers you can possibly get by just including the families in your education every day? There are a lot of parents who would love to be able to be a room parent, but because some of the teaching staff is so nasty and so distant and so disrespectful to the children and the adults, parents are not showing up. My mom used to pop into the school and I'd be like, oh Lord, we about to die. This lady's in here, right? But the thing is that we could have more of those if we would just open the door for people to get in there. So again, there are many, many options out there because the numbers and the statistics and the metrics that we are looking at show us that education needs support and help. And we are here to support and help. So I'll give you a final opportunity to go ahead and share with people how to find you and what you do to help support them. Okay. So I will, not myself. All right, Ms. Molly, go ahead as we wrap up.
feel free to head on over to my website. I have a free download that is called 7 Ways to Connect with Your Teenager. And not all of those ways will work for you, but some of them might. So head on over there, Molly Feigl, parentingsupport.com. It's up there. I'm going to stop there. Thank you very much. Would love to chat with people.
Thank you. Please connect with her on LinkedIn because she has lots of stuff for you. All right, Miss Christina.
Again, I'm Christina Campos, founder of The Impactful Parent, and you can go to theimpactfulparent.com and check out all the things there. You'll get so many free resources, including the ability to download the Impactful Parent app, but you can also go to your phone's app store and download it there. So, but theimpactfulparent.com.
Awesome. So this is good. I'm so thankful to you ladies were able to share the time with me. Go ahead, Molly, put that link up on the YouTube and they'll be able to YouTube and LinkedIn on the LinkedIn page. And then that way they'll be able to get to it.
Okay.
I'd like to thank
I'm
everybody.
downloading an app right now. Excuse me.
I know. Impactful Parenting. Go ahead, Christina. So I'd like to thank everybody who came to spend this time with us. Amanda, Shay, Sia, Phil, Kathy, all of the people who did not make any comments. I do appreciate your time and spending it with us. So until next time, please remember, words are power. Use them wisely. Thank you for your time today. We appreciate the support and look forward to you visiting us again next week. Same time, same place. Until then, words are power. Please remember to use them wisely. If you have an interest, like to be on our live show, please let us know and send us a direct message.